My guest today, Tim Gorski from Rattle Cage Productions. We last spoke to him, I don't know, 11, 12 years ago on this program with his movie Lolita, Slave to Entertainment. And there's Lolita still here so many years later, sadly, in that bathtub. And, and then we look at the devastation of the oceans related to meat consumption, trillions of aquatic creatures taken to be eaten, and the environment for the orcas destroyed. Then I start posting vegan things on the Blackfish page, and then people say, "Oh, this is a captivity site. Go away with your vegan stuff." And it's like, well, you want to hear about captivity, so. So, Tim, that's past 11, 12 years ago. Lolita, Slave to Entertainment, and any chance of her ever being released? Any word about anything, any progress at all, or is she doomed forever?
I'd like to believe that she can get out. I think she's still healthy enough, and it's all about. But the problem is, she's chattel. She's property, and the Seaquarium is not permitted. Or they're not even considering. They've never considered selling her to any of the activists, or ever letting her go in any way, shape, or form. Now, if there is, I understand, and I haven't been following it as closely because I've been so focused on elephant issues lately. But I understand that there are a couple organizations in the States working on getting a new law passed that would protect the, I guess it's under the, under the Endangered Species Act, that would protect orcas from the Puget Sound area from captivity. And I don't know if she would be, if she would fit in that retroactively or not, or how that would work. But I guess it would essentially make it illegal for her to be in that tank, which it should be, because the tank is, it's pathetic. It's completely substandard anyway. Mm-hmm. Not that there even should be a standard for tanks for orcas in captivity. But,
right.
I believe she's healthy enough, and there are people quite capable in Puget Sound who have been preparing for her inevitable retirement and release. Ken Balcom and Howard Garrett have been working in the area with her family pod for decades, and they know her immediate family. They know the waters that they swim in. They have a very safe, secure sea pen area where they could essentially gradually reintroduce her, or at the very least retire her to that sea pen where she can at least experience the real sea again and hear her family and most likely make contact when they come close. And I think she would probably adjust fairly quickly. I've seen animals. I do a lot of rescue work, disaster rescue work as well. I'm a first responder. I've worked on, Hurricane Katrina and the floods in Thailand and Bangkok. And I've seen, pets revert to their wild instincts within a matter of weeks, less than weeks. When, dogs turn back into, these are like house pets, the golden retrievers, and they turn back into pack animals almost overnight. So I believe
time for another break, Tim Gorski. We'll have some time to talk about. We'll bring you up to today and an event coming up in San Diego in a few days. Continue talking with Tim Gorski on Go Vegan Radio with Bob Linden at GoVeganRadio.com, Twitter at GoVeganRadio. Once again, welcome to the second hour of Go Vegan Radio with Bob Linden. Yes, we have expanded to 2 hours since joining the Genesis Communications Network for syndication. Back 11, 12 years ago when Tim Gorski was last on the program, we were an hour show, and who would have imagined that we would be on the air this long? It's kind of a miracle, but we do get our support at times. We have Greenlight Meals, for example, whom you'll meet at the World Vegan Summit and Expo. By the way, registration opens this coming Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific time at worldvegansummit.com. And when you attend the summit, you'll say hi to the people at Greenlight Meals who really make it easy for you to go vegan wherever you are in the USA. All you have to do is answer the door. Great meals delivered directly to home or office. The website is greenlitemeals.com. You care about the animals, the environment, better health, and there's just an amazing menu. Check out the menu. It's really from breakfast, lunch, dinner, everything from tofu scramble to Cinnabon oatmeal, falafel, and it's great. Snacks for the kids, and even smoothies, and weight loss program with Melissa Bray, who was a guest on this show throughout the month of January. So check it out. Go to greenlightmeals.com, greenlitemeals.com. And so there's no excuse to go vegan. No, there's no vegan restaurant near me in this town. Yeah. Well, answer your door, greenlightmeals.com. So we're talking again to Tim Gorski. He's the director of Rattle Cage's Productions. When he was on the show so many years ago, we were talking about Lolita, Slave to Entertainment. And when we were talking a little earlier, Tim, you said lately you've been interested in elephants, and your most recent film was How I Became an Elephant. So tell us about that and where we are today. And you have an event coming up in San Diego on the 13th.
That's true, yes. I guess it was about 2004, 2005. I kind of fell into the elephant campaigning accidentally while I was visiting Southeast Asia, and ended up spending a lot of time working in Southeast Asia, doing quite a bit of investigations and research and surveys on elephant populations, and spending time along the borders with actual elephant traffickers who were trafficking live elephants from Burma to Thailand for the entertainment industry, more so than the ivory industry. And we ended up making this wonderful film with a young elephant activist from Los Angeles, a 13-year-old girl named Juliette West. We produced the film with Georgia Fox from CSI Las Vegas, and Alec Peterson and David Rubin. All these folks got involved, and they said, we want to try and help the Asian elephants. And Juliette raised a whole bunch of money, and she flew herself over to Thailand to get involved in this whole this booming elephant trekking industry and elephant performing industry that was growing exponentially in Thailand, and still is, and now it's being exported into Cambodia and Vietnam and other places. But since we made that film, which was released in 2009, elephants street begging in Thailand, in the cities, in Chiang Mai and in Bangkok, has been outlawed. And when I say street begging, I mean they actually walk elephants around in the streets for tourists, photo ops and things like that, and they charge them money to feed the elephant. That's since been outlawed, and I think that's partially due to our film and the popularity of our film in Thailand. We actually have more than 17,000 Facebook fans in Thailand alone for that film, which is great. So I worked quite a while on that. I spent about 4 years in Southeast Asia working on those issues. And then I just kind of migrated right into the African elephant issues, because we have a massacre of epic proportions going on right now in Africa to supply the demand for ivory around the world, primarily China, Thailand, Hong Kong, and the United States, actually. There was a guy in Philadelphia a guy named Victor Gordon was just sentenced to 30 months in prison for dealing in his art shop in Philadelphia, dealing in $800,000 worth of illegal ivory. So even in the U.S., there's still a demand for ivory. But it's primarily the demand in China, and that's where I'm focusing now with the new project. There's been a few, really powerful ivory documentaries came out recently on PBS and National Geographic, and they're very hard-hitting and very well done, but they're not reaching the Chinese audience, and they're the people who need to see it. They're not getting the education in China, and I've been spending a lot of time in Beijing and Shanghai and Chengdu, and the people aren't, these programs are not being broadcast in China. They can't get them through the censors. So what we're doing is we're partnering with a Chinese production company called Tudou. Tudou is the equivalent of YouTube. They're the Chinese YouTube. So we're working with Tudou to produce a film about the ivory trade with the Chinese characters and African characters coming together in Africa to really get down to the grit of what is going on and bring the information back to China and share it with China. We're going to have we'll have a national release in China. We already have guaranteed distribution on this one in China, which is fabulous. So this is really, it's kind of groundbreaking. No one's ever really tried to make a documentary with China before and partnering with them. And they're very excited about it, the company we're working with.
Well, that's interesting. You're saying the other documentaries don't get seen in China, but so, I mean, what's different about your approach then that will allow it to be seen? I mean, won't it be self-critical, or I mean, tell us. We're going to engage China. We are not going to flat out call them the villains that they are, because you know what? America was the largest consumer of ivory for a very long time in the 1800s and early 1900s, and now China is just doing what we were doing in the States. They're doing it now. They're just doing it a lot more efficiently and a lot faster. So we're engaging China. We're getting them involved. We're not pointing the finger at them. We're giving them the opportunity to be the heroes. And what we're doing is we're working with Jane Goodall's Roots and Shoots. We're working with a couple of other organizations in Africa and this company in China, Tudou, to create. We're bringing the Chinese youth and giving them an opportunity to come to Africa and be heroes in the movement for ivory and bring this story back. And the other reason that we will not be censored, which is beautiful, is Tudou is they're an online broadcaster. It's video on demand. This is like YouTube. So we're going to broadcast. We're going to have a national premiere on Tudou online, and they don't have the same censorship that the broadcasters have. And they can also guarantee us longevity, which is really nice. The film will stay online, and they have a huge marketing campaign that they've already started for the film, and we haven't even begun production yet. So this is actually quite exciting. And what message will the film have? Is it a message of compassion? Like, look, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, or I mean, what this poaching is going on. Like, what? How can it? Yeah.
The basic message is ivory ain't cool. It's just not cool. You'd be surprised how many folks in China, and these are educated people in China, believe that the tusks fall out naturally, or the elephants die naturally and they harvest the elephants. They're just not getting a proper education.
It's like people don't know who their hamburger was, right? So
right, exactly. So we're going to bring them to Africa. Rather than trying to bring the story to China, we're going to bring China to Africa, to where it's happening. And we'll be working with the Kenya Wildlife Service, Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, where we'll be working with the orphans. They have a wonderful sanctuary in Tsavo National Park where they rescue orphaned elephants from the ivory trade, from the poaching, basically, because it's getting out of hand. It's in epic proportions. I mean, it's nothing compared to the 98,000 chickens that died during the last commercial break that we just had globally. But we're talking about we're losing 25,000 to 35,000 elephants a year in Africa, and there's less than 400,000 left. So if you do the math, we're talking about the world largest walking vegans being extinct within 10 or 15 years.
Oh, we have to protect our fellow vegans.
You know, I mean, in my mind, that's just not cool. I mean, 26 million years ago, we had 350 different species of elephants. Now we have 2. In 1979, we had 1.2 million elephants in Africa alone. Now we've got like 400,000, and the rate of poaching and how it's escalated. I mean, this has become a war. I mean, poachers are dying, rangers are dying, elephants are dying at an elephant every 15 minutes or so. Kenya Wildlife Service lost, I think, 6 rangers this year already to poachers. These guys are fighting a war. And they're using anything they can to kill the elephants. They use helicopters now and AK-47s. They use cyanide and poison the lakes. And it's gotten really out of control. It hasn't been this bad since before the ban on ivory, the 1989 ban on ivory that was it was actually effectual. That worked. And then, but then they had that big one-off sale back in 2008 that screwed everything up when they sold. When CITES approved 108 tons of ivory to sell to China, which just reignited the whole demand in China. And now the demand in China, it's because the middle class has grown so rapidly in China and their affluent population. And ivory is now almost worth its weight in gold. Actually, rhino horn is worth more than its weight in gold. But so it's an investment, you know.
Right. Losing one's life, a majestic life, or to become a trinket. But again, there we are. Everybody's considering the animals, like you say, chattel, property. Yeah.
And the worst thing about it to me, one of the worst things about it to me is one of the biggest products they're making out of ivory. It's not even art. They're making chopsticks. And chopsticks that they use to eat pork.
Ridiculous. Tim, we'll have a few more minutes after this break, and we should talk about the San Diego event coming up on the 13th. It's Go Vegan Radio with Bob Linden, GoVeganRadio.com. It's Go Vegan Radio with Bob Linden at GoVeganRadio.com. Remember, I'll be posting more information this week about the World Vegan Summit and Expo. Registration to open this coming Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific Time at worldvegansummit.com. And thanks to all the people who donated to get this rolling. Now we have to register to, really finance the whole thing. And see, it's really going to be cool with all the meals included, and thanks to Vegetarian House for getting things started with the donation in the beginning there. Vegetarian House restaurant in San Jose, 520 East Santa Clara Street. Go to vegetarianhouse.us, and if you have a need for catering in the Bay Area, think Vegetarian House. Really make your business event or your wedding very special. Okay. Also, thanks to Nature's Flavors, who give us select tea and organic coffees and select gluten-free, sugar-free baking mixes and Birdie and Bill soda and Sentient Lifestyle.com, all helping things get rolling on the World Vegan Summit and Expo. Have just a few more minutes left with Tim Gorski, director of Rattle the Cages Productions. I'm earlier in the program talked about, there's another case of mad cow disease. It's a world gone mad. And I'm trying to maintain my sanity here. And, the thought of elephants being killed for ivory, to make chopsticks, to eat pork, drives me crazy. It makes me mad, Tim. I have to tell you.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. Yeah, I have to correct myself real quick. I think I said that How I Became an Elephant was released in 2009, and it was actually released in 2011. And if people want to see it, they can go to howibecameanelephant.com, and there's many different ways to view it or download it or stream it on iTunes and Google Play and whatever. And we are having an event in San Diego, like you mentioned, a fundraising event where we'll be screening How I Became an Elephant, and that event will be this Friday, the 13th. And it's a fundraiser to help raise funds for our current film project, which I will actually, unfortunately, miss the event because I will be in the bush in Kenya working with the Rangers. But my partners, my executive director and my co-director and producers are throwing this lovely event at Alexander Salazar's Fine Art in San Diego. And if people want to get tickets, they can go on to Facebook, How I Became an Elephant, or they could just call my executive director, Jane, at 301-219-7615. It's going to be a really cool event. I really wish I could go. There's going to be 6 live bands, a lot of vegan food. It's, socializing, and then they're going to show the film, How I Became an Elephant. And then when you're done crying at the end of the film, we're going to have some nice, cool cirque performances, human cirque performances, not animals, of course, fire eaters and jugglers and things. And then my co-director will come on and do a presentation about the elephants in captivity, and we'll segue right into showing the sneak peek of our new film that we're working on right now between our partnership with Africa and China to basically just stop the nonsense that's happening in both Africa and China. And then there'll be a DJ after that and a light show and tons of fun. It's going to be 6 p.m. to midnight. Like I said, at Alexander Salazar's in San Diego, we're going to be auctioning off some really cool stuff. We have some great elephant prints that we took at the Elephant Sanctuary in Thailand, and we're looking for executive producers and people that can't come to the event and they want to help us produce the film. They can just come to rattlethecage.org and donate, and we will gladly exchange an IMDb producer or co-producer or executive producer credit, depending on how much people are interested in pitching in. So we have ways for everyone to get involved.
All right, that's almost like getting a SAG card or something if you have a line.
Right.
I was an extra. They let me do a line in rehearsal all the time, but once it came to the film, the line was cut out, and so there went my movie career, and I had to stay in radio, which
Yep. Oh, I have to mention that the food is sponsored by Cafe Cabaret. I hear it's great Lebanese food. I haven't eaten there, but they're supposed to be bringing some really good veg food. And but there's only 400 tickets available, so people have to act fast if they want to go.
Okay, and the website again, the best website is?
Just to donate, rattlethecage.org, but if they want to find the event, go to Facebook /How I Became an Elephant, and they'll see the event.